Hello Mallards, it is Thursday and I am back in the black box ready for the second half of Junior 1X, but I'm very excited, most notably because already set up for this first show we have this. There's a pigeon on the piano. I don't know why, but I really can't wait to find out. And the rest of the setup for the first show looks fun too, but I'm gonna be honest, it's mostly about the pigeon. Watch me give this pigeon my best acting award today. The 1X are over. I got to see 6 shows, like boom, 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 boom. I mean, we were in there for like an hour and 10 minutes tops maybe. They were really clocking along, really got it down to a science. And the first show was About Time, and this was Bea's directorial show. And it was about a woman coming into a shop to get her watch fixed and sort of starting a little romance. And that is the show that had the pigeon. And I thought that the pigeon would be my favorite part, and admittedly, Murray was an incredible star. But the real star of today was actually Sebastian's facial expressions. Particularly his eyebrows, but just in general his facial expressions. There are several times, he was in a couple of shows, and there were several times where just what he did with his face really got a big audience reaction, whether it was laughter or gasps or whatever it happened to be. And so it was really fun to watch that. They also did a really great job of playing with volume in a really fun way. There were some really actual whispered moments in this, which is a fun thing that you're able to do in a black box space that you can't necessarily do on a big stage because you need everybody to be able to hear you. So I thought that that was well done, and I liked the setup of the show, and also I loved the pigeon. A taxidermied animal, I guess, and I'm sold. That's what it takes. The second show was Phoenix's. It was called Touch, and I always enjoy when the tech students do these. I love especially senior free plays by tech students because I think that they have a different perspective as people who are on stage less. And some of that comes across in how they treat performers, but I think a lot of it comes across in a wider view of the stage and how different elements interact. And they also tend to have a little bit more technical elements. So this was the only one that had multiple scenes with some lighting changes, and the only show with sound cues. And that did not surprise me, but it was fun to pay attention to. Like, somebody who comes from a tech background incorporates tech in a very different way and has a different vision of what it takes to create a show where their brains are always thinking about those elements too. And I am not one of those people. Somebody has to hold my hand and remind me that tech elements exist. So I am always impressed by that. And also, this was snippets of a show, and I absolutely am going to be checking out more of this show. It created a world where touch is forbidden. And so this young girl is like trying to figure out, she's never been hugged. What does it mean to be hugged? What would it be like to be touched? And her mother's like, don't do it, it's illegal. And I absolutely want to find out more about that world. Very, very intriguing. Then it was Zach's show, which was called Trophy. And that was a heavy piece, partially because this writer has a way of dancing around the subjects, which means that you have to make sure that even though a reader or somebody watching the show would not understand what's happening until the reveal happens, your actors need to know what they're saying, because the reveal for the audience is not the reveal for the actors. And that is a tough thing to tackle. And I'm really impressed that that is what Zachary chose to do. And then we had the Dead Ones. This was Sydney Francis's piece. And I was also very intrigued by this show. There was a lot of movement in it, a lot of traversing the stage. She had to make a journey in a very small space, and I really liked the way that she set that up and the way that she did the reveals of the characters. And again, Sebastian's facial expressions really coming in clutch to deliver a lot of subtext and a lot of understanding to the audience that you wouldn't necessarily get from the physical text. And that's a big part of directing, is trying to figure out how to use everything at your disposal, not just the words. Then we had Cole's piece, Godsplat. Cole gets the award today for giving the best curtain speech, which should surprise no one. He is a very funny human and very entertaining to listen to. And so I liked his little pre-curtain speech. And then the show was very simple in staging, and I think very effective. It was these two girls talking about being broken up with and trying to find love, and then being broken up with again. And they alternated being the person breaking up with each other. And I liked the play back and forth. It reminded me a little bit of the Coastal Starlight one from yesterday, in a similar, like, both themselves and then not themselves moments in and out of the actual canon of the piece. And I thought that the way that was driven was really good. And then the final piece was Constellations. This was Jade's piece, and it was again like a heavy piece. So it's about a girl who is suffering from, I'm not sure, I think maybe cancer, but some sort of degenerative disease. And the result is that she's struggling to remember words, and she's having a conversation with a character who I think is her brother. I think this might also be part of a larger piece. I will have to look that up. But she's having a conversation with her brother about perhaps getting away and finishing it all. And the conversation itself is stilted because of her inability to find the words, but it's clear that her brother knows what's happening. And the two performers in this piece were phenomenal. Like, it's just a really difficult one to navigate because of how the script is, and yet I never felt like for a single moment they didn't understand what they were trying to say to each other. Like, even as she's struggling to find the right words, you could tell that she knew what the right words were, and that frustration was there and real. And I would say that of all of the shows that I watched today, it is the one that felt the most genuine and driven. So props to Jade for being able to find the right performers for that, and also bring that out in her performers. Just beautifully done overall. I had a very enjoyable time at these Junior 1 acts. I think up next is The Tempest. Well, technically Toss Me a Tempest, which is, I actually don't know, something Tempest related, so that's what I'll be back for. But tomorrow I'm gonna go see a new show somewhere else. I hope you'll be along for the ride. I'll see you then.